Quantity theory of money. The quantity theory of money play an important role in the price level determination of classical macroeconomics. A change in the price level depends on the stock of money controlled by the central bank of a country. The price level is directly related to the quantity of money. If the central bank keeps the money supply stable, the price level will be stable. If the central bank increases the money supply rapidly, the price level will rise rapidly. According to the classical economist, the quantity of money determines the price level. And the determination of price level in the classical system is explained by the quantity theory of money. Quantity theory of money. In the classical theory, the relation between changes in the money supply and changes in the price level is direct and strictly proportional. This relationship, in which the price level is made a function of money supply, is known as the quantity theory of money. Here, the classicals give an important relationship in between the supply of money and the price level, that is direct and proportional. And we have two important approaches to the quantity theory of money. One is the cash transaction approach and the another one is the cash balance approach. The first one, cash transaction approach. The cash transaction approach was given by the economist Irving Fisher, and Irving Fisher is developed this cash transaction approach with the help of his famous equation of exchange. Fisher focused attention on the reason why people spent money. Why people spent money. Thus, his theory is known as the transactions approach to the quantity theory of money. And here, Fisher explained the role of money in the economy is medium of exchange. Next, Fisher explains his famous equation of exchange for introducing the cash transactions approach. The equation as MV is equal to PT. Here, M is the total quantity of money in the economy, V is the velocity of circulation of money, P is general price level, T is total quantity of final goods and services exchanged during the year. These are the important variables in the famous equation of exchange. And for explaining his theory of cash transaction approach, here Fisher gives certain assumptions. The first one is from this equation, here the V and T are constant in the short run. From MV is equal to PT, V and T are constant in short run. And here V, what is V? It is the velocity. What is velocity? Velocity of money is the average rate at which people spend their money. The average rate at which the people spend their money. The volume of output corresponding to full employment is stable in the short run. Thus, T is constant. Volume of output corresponding to full employment is stable in the short run. Thus, T is also constant. And the other two variables are M and P. Here, P is passive, means the changes in P depends on changes in M. Given these assumptions, if any increase or change in M must lead to a proportionate change or rise in price level in the economy. That is P. Here Fisher explained one practical implication to the cash transaction approach, that is, if the economy is facing inflationary situations, then we have to reduce the quantity of money, and the appropriate policy during the time of deflation is that we have to increase the quantity of money supply in the economy. These are about the quantity theory of money version given by Irving Fisher. And the next version of quantity theory of money is the cash balance approach, and it was also known as Cambridge version. And the cash balance approach to the quantity theory of money is associated with the name A.C.P. Gu, and he introduced the Cambridge equation, the famous Cambridge equation, and it is to be derived from the equation of exchange MV is equal to PT. And next, it was to be solved with the help of M. We get M is equal to PT divided by V. Again, the equation is rewritten as M is equal to 1 by V into PT. Here, 1 by V is equal to K. We get the equation as M is equal to KPT, and this is the famous Cambridge equation. Here K is the fraction of annual sales volume held in the form of cash balances. If the value of V increases, K declines. K is an index of the demand for money as a store of value. That is, here A.C.P. Gu explained his theory of cash balances with the help of the role played by money in the economy as store of value. And this is the equation made by P. Gu with the help of the equation of exchange done by Irving Fisher. And the equation is M is equal to KPT. This is the Cambridge equation. K is the fraction of the cash balances held by the people. Okay. Next, when the demand for money as a store of value increases, the velocity of circulation of money decreases. What is this? Here, P. Gu gave an inverse relationship between the velocity of circulation of money and cash balances. That is, at any given time, the people hold a certain amount of cash balances sufficient to purchase a given volume of goods and services, which may be a fraction of the real national income. Okay? At any given time, the people hold a certain amount of cash balances sufficient to purchase a given volume of goods and services, which may be a fraction of the real national income. And here, if the velocity of circulation of money increases, then the demand for money as cash balances are decreases. That is why P. Gu here explaining there is an inverse relationship between the velocity of circulation of money and the demand for cash balances. Cambridge equation can be used to analyze the role played by the quantity of money in the economy. For analyzing this, here P. Gu gave a simple example, that is, the economy is in equilibrium with the quantity of money is equal to 500 crores and the cash balances K is equal to 1 by 6 and PT is equal to 3000 crore. That is 500 is equal to 1 by 6 into 3000. This is the equilibrium condition of an economy. Then the central bank increases the quantity of money in the economy from rupees 500 crores to rupees 600 crores. First, the economy have only 500 crores of quantity of money, but the central bank increases this money to 600 crores. Now the people have more cash balances than before. The people want to hold only 1 by 6 PT as cash balance, but now they have cash balances equal to 1 by 5 PT. The fraction is increasing. That is the amount they will keep as cash balances was increased. Then we got it from the equation, that is K is equal to M divided by PT. 600 divided by 3000, we get 1 by 5. Supply of money exceeds the demand for money. Here the economy faces one disequilibrium or imbalance, that is supply of money exceeds the demand for money. In this situation, the people in the economy will try to reduce their cash balances. When the economy facing this type of disequilibrium, the people in the economy try to reduce their cash balances. They will do this by spending their excess money balances on the goods and services. And again, here one more thing is explaining, that is, if the economy is in full employment, T is at its maximum. Thus, increased expenditure on goods and services will result in the increase in the price level only. In this situation, the economy facing increasing price level because there is no change in the quantity of commodities in the economy. Again, equilibrium will be restored only when prices have risen sufficiently that PT is equal to rupees 3,600 crores. When the equilibrium will be restored only when prices have risen sufficiently that PT is equal to rupees 3,600 crores. When it is equal to rupees 3,600 crores, people will once again regain the fraction, that is 1 by 6 PT in the form of cash balances. That is rupees 600 divided by 3,600, that is equal to 1 by 6. And again, the supply of money will once again be equal to the demand for money in the system, and the economy is in equilibrium. Thus, the cash balances approach to the quantity theory of money establishes a direct and proportional relationship between the supply of money and the price level. These are all about the Cambridge version of equation and Cambridge version of quantity theory of money. And I think you all got the idea about the quantity theory of money made by the classical economist and how they explained this with the help of two approaches. Thank you for listening.